Thanks, Elaine. You're such a super lady. Because we watched the Merv...
Griffin.
Because we watched the Merv Griffin show. What do I say? That's not what I say. Because this week on...
Keeping everything.
Because this week on Close Talkers, we watched the Merv Griffin show. Is that what do I say?
So, Derek, thanks for joining us tonight.
I'm all thrown off now.
Why don't you sit down and tell us what you got going on?
So did you like the Merv Griffin show?
I hear you drugged a woman to play with her toys.
It's a long time ago.
Did I like this episode? Look,
When did you find out that turkey made you sleepy?
That's something I heard as a child. Does it really?
There is tryptophan in it, and it does
but
make you
how
tired.
much do you have to eat to really?
I mean, I think it's like a combination of when you eat turkey, you usually eat like a bigger meal.
It's a volume eating scenario. Yeah.
And then also there's like something in turkey that makes you slightly more tired. But I do not think it causes you to
probably the
black
wine
out.
and desserts and 10 sides that go with the turkey. I just got a hankering for some turkey dinner with a gallon of gravy on top.
I like turkey. I enjoy when we get turkey outside of holidays and cook it.
When Jerry poured that gravy on that woman's turkey, it made me sick.
That was a lot of gravy.
It's chunky.
It probably was ice cold.
Maybe it wasn't even gravy.
Oh, they're doing the whole like food.
It's like slightly melted lard or something. So, did I like this episode? I didn't hate it, but I definitely wondered how much longer it was going to be.
We got to a point, I filled up more than a page of notes, which is a rarity these days. And I was kind of like, when is this going to end? And how are they going to wrap this up?
Yeah.
And spoiler alert, they just don't.
Nope.
Yeah. So the Merv Griffin show was written by Bruce Eric Kaplan.
Wait a minute. Who's that?
This is the first Seinfeld episode that he's written.
Okay.
He will write one more, and then he also contributes to the Puerto Rico Day.
When are we going to see this episode? It's built up so much. It's either the worst thing on television ever made, or
I know why it's been banned, and I don't think it's as bad as people make it out to be.
Okay.
Please don't clip that and use it against me in the future. It was directed by Andy Ackerman, and it aired on November 6th, 1997. Screen Crush ranked it as the 126th best episode.
Okay.
Vulture.com had it as the 11th best episode.
What?
You seem like you're in shock.
You're going to have to explain what Vulture said about this.
It was
a hilarious episode? No notes?
Pretty much.
Oh my God.
I would actually get what it said.
No, it's okay. You know, the Merv Griffiths show of it was pretty funny. At some point I wrote down the things people get up to in their homes. You never know what's going on behind closed doors. Could have a whole vintage talk show set in there. You never know.
It's like why people like surfing on Redfin and finding like, you'll never believe what the inside of this house looks like.
Oh, when you said Redfin, I heard Red Note, and I'm like, what does the Chinese Instagram have to do with anything?
So number 11, The Merv Griffith Show, Season 9, an episode where everything goes completely off the rails for each of the characters.
That's every episode.
George's social contract with pigeons disintegrates, and he ends up caring for a wounded squirrel. Kramer turns his apartment into the set of a TV talk show. Elaine almost loses her job because of a box of Tic Tacs, and Jerry drugs his girlfriend so he can play with her collection of vintage toys. Still, nothing tops Jerry, Elaine, and George watching home movies from George's childhood, finding out that George was having his diaper changed until he was 8 years old.
The scene with Elaine, Jerry, and George was funny and very sweet. It was just like, you know what people want? They want to relive the best parts of their childhood, play with toys, hang out with their friends. I've never had anything made in an easy bake oven. Have you?
I think so. Yeah, I have.
Who had an easy bake oven?
My next door neighbor, Todd.
Todd. You know that cake mix is like 30 years old.
Somebody else, I'm sure there's another easy bake oven somewhere in our social network. I feel like I've had another one before.
Nobody I know had an easy bake oven.
Can you make them? Do they make them still because the light bulbs don't heat up?
They do, because Trixie Mattel reviews and bakes stuff in easy bake ovens. As soon as I said that, I think my younger cousin had one, but I don't know if it was the new kind without the light bulb, because it would have been like the mid to late 90s, around the time of this episode, really.
Yeah,
she probably got it.
I mean,
if she listens.
Incandescent light bulbs didn't go away until more recently.
But I think they redesigned it. Maybe they just designed the entrance and exit so you can't stick your fingers in there and burn them. But if she's listening, please correct me. Did you have an easy bake oven? You know who you are.
IMDb ranked this as the 8th best episode.
Are you kidding me? Okay, the Merv Griffin set is visually iconic, right? So it's easy to remember. That was a pretty funny part of this episode. You told me it was going to be about squirrels, so you remembered the other storylines. But I doubt other people would remember George and the squirrel.
Well, I remember the squirrel because of the end where he walks on set. No, you idiot. Hawks hate squirrels.
That guy's been on TV, right? This wasn't his first time?
He was a producer. He's a famous producer of an animal TV show.
It was very wooden.
Why don't you read the synopsis?
Kramer starts a talk show in his apartment. George must care for a squirrel. Jerry dates a woman for her toy collection. Elaine works with a sidler.
I mean, those things happen.
Yeah. Let's throw it back to last week when I asked you if you remember this episode.
Basically, George gets into a fight with the squirrels.
And?
I think I nailed it.
You didn't want to spoil the Merv Griffin of it, right?
No, I didn't want to spoil the toy drugging.
Oh, okay.
Pseudo-sexual assault of it.
To be fair, there was no sexual assault.
No, but I mean,
I know, it's date rape. It's a date rape joke.
It is.
But there's no actual assault. There's just toys. There's breach of trust.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how sleepy is this woman? What a lightweight. She had one fat glass of wine and she's out.
Entire box of wine, Katie.
They drank some. So who are the guest stars?
Well, we had Julia Pennington playing Celia. She was on VIP, Dharma and Greg, and He's Just Not That Into You. We had Arabella Field, who played Miranda.
Who?
George's girlfriend.
Oh.
She was in Dante's Peak, the 1998 release of Godzilla, and the movie National Treasure. We had Jim Fowler, who played Jim Fowler. He was a producer and consultant on Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom, Little Laura and Big John, and The Lion King.
Oh, like The Lion King?
The Lion King. We also had Brent Hinckley, who played Lou. And I kept looking at him and I thought he was Tim Blake Nelson.
Does look a little bit like Tim Blake Nelson.
Yeah. But he is not. He is a different person. But he was in Ed Wood, Falling Down, and Jacob's Ladder.
Oh.
We have a Jacob's Ladder scenario.
We do.
Have you seen the movie Falling Down?
I don't think so.
Oh, that's a great movie. I got to rewatch that. That's Michael Douglas is just like...
Falling down?
No, he's like having the worst day and he decides to just like go crazy and like he holds up a fast food restaurant because it's like 11:02 and they're like, oh, sorry, we stopped serving breakfast at 11 and you can't get breakfast.
So he Karens on everybody?
He goes nuts. But like literally he brings guns.
Oh, cool. You know, 1 minute Elliot Gould is sitting on you, the next you're trash. Did you like this episode?
I mean, I think a lot of it is the unexpectedness of it. And minus that, like, I wasn't sitting there, like, guffawing on the couch. There was a couple of, like, lines, like, when Celia says, "Those hands never stop." Jerry was, like, reaching for the toys. And, like, it was a clever, like, joke about sexual assault. Unfortunately, not, like, talking about how bad it was and, like, really no comeuppance comes from...
No, you just call your friends and they can get in on it too.
Yeah.
And everything's great. I laughed when Jerry said, "Got any booze? Let's get ripped."
I liked George's, swerves to not hit the pigeon, and you hit a squirrel. Squirrel? We don't have any deal with them.
No. Question. Why is George with this woman?
I was thinking that this entire time.
Why not in the first instance did he go, "Okay," and just, like, open the door for her and she can get out of his car?
Recently I was thinking about, I was talking to a younger guy who had broken up with his girlfriend. He was like, "Oh, I'm so much happier. I can, like, do what I want at night."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I think it's important that you find someone that likes the things that you like.
Or at least also has interests, and you can do your interests and they can do their interests, and there's no jealousy.
Sure, but I do think it's important to have mutual interest.
Oh, yeah, that's nice too.
Yes.
As we sit 1 foot from each other doing a podcast that no one listens to.
Yeah. So I was thinking that in this entire time that George was talking to this woman. I'm like, what are you?
Yeah. What do you have in common?
Why are you?
Yeah. She's unpleasant from the get-go. What was George trying to do in the park when he stomped a pigeon to death?
He was seeing if they would get out of the way, because he notices a jogger go by and the jogger runs through them and they get out of his way. So he's like, "Oh, I'll run through a thing and see if they get out of my way." So he finds out that it's like a personal...
They've called off the deal with him.
Yeah.
But he murders a pigeon in front of a child, right?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I mean, accidentally. I think that's manslaughter, technically.
I know this is later, but I really laughed when Elaine's trying to talk to the Seidler and hint that she needs to do something. Rather than just be direct and be like, "You're freaking people out. I don't like when you sidle up behind me." She invents this tic-tac ruse. But she's, like, pointing at her mouth and he goes, "What, my dead tooth?" I also laughed when Kramer's talking about whatever his name was with the animals. Like, practically raised his kids.
Jim Fowler.
No context. And when Mr. Peterman said, "And if you are undead, I'll find out about that too."
I think I should leave more conversations with that line. Do you remember when we found that squirrel on the sidewalk that had, like, fallen out of the tree?
I'm sorry. It fell into our dog's mouth.
No. I'm talking about a different squirrel.
Yes, I do remember the squirrel. You found it just sitting there.
It was just, like, kind of splatted on the sidewalk.
Yeah. And you scooped it up in a box and we took it to the Humane Society.
Imagine if this was our life.
Yeah, I know. You had a beard then.
Could have lived in my beard. Did I have a beard then?
Yes, I'm picturing a photo of you with a squirrel in a box and you have a beard in it. Did you ever use Banaka?
No, I don't think so. Didn't you go to school with some kid that thought he was super cool and he had Banaka?
Yeah, I was thinking of that. Like, one person I know, I don't even know, where do you buy Banaka, or where did you buy it? It feels like an old man thing.
It does. It feels like a very, like, 80s thing, right?
Like, I feel like you'd had to buy it at a barbershop or something.
I think my only, like, thought about Banaka was in Dumb and Dumber when Jim Carrey, like, goes to spray in his mouth and he sprays it out instead.
I also know that you can light it on fire.
Oh, can you?
Oh, yeah. It's like a psh, anything you can psh, you can light it on fire.
Anything that you can psh.
Air freshener, hairspray. It's all got accelerants in there. Don't they?
Well, I think Banaka might have alcohol in it.
Well, there you go.
And other things have accelerants in it. So I've been buying the generic wax beans, and I tell you rip the label off, I can't tell them apart.
When Newman said that, I thought he was buying fresh wax beans, and each one had a little fruit sticker on it.
No, he meant a can, Katie.
Yes, I know now. How much would you pay for a cameo from Wayne Knight?
I don't know. Is he on Cameo?
Just ballpark.
How much does it cost? And I'll tell you no.
I didn't buy you a cameo from Wayne Knight. But if you felt that Wayne Knight was too pricey, how much would you pay for a cameo from John Hurley?
I did know that John Hurley was on Cameo.
There's also any number of guest stars from Seinfeld that you could get a cameo from. I don't know about Dead Tooth Guy, though.
Ruthie Cohen?
I think she's dead.
Yeah, probably. So I was recently listening to a podcast, and they had a listener call-in show where they played a Family Feud style game about sports and pop culture. And one of the questions that they asked was, name a character from The Simpsons that is not a Simpsons family member.
Ned.
I think Ned Flanders was number one. Or number two, and it might have been Moe was number one.
Okay.
Name a Seinfeld character from the TV show Seinfeld that isn't Kramer, George, Elaine, or Jerry.
Newman.
Estelle Harris.
Yes,
Frank
that's also
Costanza.
That's also an answer. What's the point? Are you trying to?
Do you know how Family Feud works?
No, I've never watched Family Feud.
You've never watched Family Feud?
I know there's a board. I've seen clips.
Do you know? So you think they ask people questions, they give correct answers, and then the answer might flip over on the board?
Something like that.
So the way that Family Feud works is they ask a question to 100 people.
Okay.
And then if you have the same answer as however many people, you get those points.
Oh, okay.
So
who was number one in the Seinfeld question?
That wasn't a question.
Oh,
I was
okay.
saying if we did it with this, I would say that make that a question. So, if 30 people answered, Mo Sizlak, then you'd get 30 points. And if 4 people said Principal Skinner, you'd only get 4 points. And then they only do like top 5 or top whatever. And if you get an answer that isn't on the board, you get an X. 3 X's, then it goes to the other team. If they get an answer right, they steal all the points.
This sounds boring.
It's only been on television for 90 years at this point.
So I love trivia, but I hate people. So trying to figure out what people are going to say to a trivia question is my nightmare.
This is the thing where it's not about the right answer. It's about what people think would be the right answer. And maybe it's not like a right or wrong answer, but it's like...
What does that woman say?
What is...
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I just did like a little motion with my hand.
What is Popeye's favorite food? Chicken.
So, see, I have seen clips.
Well, you did not understand what was happening.
I've never watched it.
So I think that was, they get to the end and it's like, there can be situations where it's like down to like one answer. And so then whoever like answers that goes on to like the final thing where they take 2 people from your team and they ask you the same 5 questions and you have to get over like 200 points or whatever.
Oh my God. This sounds not
it is
fun
very, it is incredibly easy and a lot of people enjoy this show.
Who hosts it? Is it Steve
Harvey in the States and Mr. D in Canada now? But they've had, Louis Armstrong? Louis Anderson. Not Louis Armstrong, the trumpeter. Okay.
Oh, is he going to open the door?
Has our cat become sentient?
He's sentient. He's a sentient being.
Opening the door is the Bechdel test for sentientness.
What does sentient mean? Doesn't mean humanoid.
Bechdel test isn't the right word either.
No. He's not a woman talking to another woman, not about men.
It's if somebody opens a door in a movie, it passes the Bechdel test.
Oh my God. I'm glad we're talking about this because I had no more notes about this episode.
I wrote down a bunch of things that happen. He's a human maraca. I have a pair of like wrestling shoes, like Elaine wears. Yeah.
Mm. You know what? You're a sidler.
I am not a sidler. I walk through this house and you seem to forget that I live here and scream at the top of your lungs when I come into your peripheral vision.
Because you do it silently. And you just show up and then you're just there. Just like the sidler.
I'm sure if I always made noise, you would be like, this goddamn motherfucker never stops making noise. Can't win. I cannot win.
I've made you clap when you approach my office.
Uh-huh.
You must clap and sing. And then I'm happy to see you.
At least one of us is.
Well, that was the last episode of this podcast, I guess.
I asked if, like they had the gag where George has come in and Kramer turns to him and says like, oh, so you and Jerry used to date. What was that like? I was wondering, is that like a precursor to Ron Burgundy just reading everything off a teleprompter?
Ah.
I liked when Jay Peterman took it and said, well, this certainly looks like a lot of words.
And I assume I needed it right away.
So this episode was, I think, the only one to not feature Jerry's apartment.
They weren't there at all?
They weren't there at all throughout this episode because they needed to take it down and use the space for the Merv Griffin set.
Huh. I mean, yeah. We've seen into Kramer's apartment. It's not that big.
None of the set had existed. Like this isn't the original set. None of the original set existed anymore. So the crew had to like
make a Merv
watch
Griffin set?
Vintage film and rebuild based off like
that's fun.
That.
I like those chairs.
I think being like a prop thing for a TV show and then like that would be so cool.
Yeah.
Being like, I need a 6-foot sign with a whatever on. Be like, yeah, okay, let me work on that.
Mm-hmm.
And then it doesn't have to look great, but it has to look good enough. And then you just like throw it away.
I have corrections.
Okay.
So last week was the junk mail. We talked a lot about junk mail.
Mm-hmm.
If you put up a no flyers please sign, at least in Canada, the mailman will not deliver flyers.
No.
Unaddressed ad mail. But they also won't deliver things like the garbage collection calendar and those notices you get if there's going to be construction in your neighborhood. Like, you don't get anything that doesn't have your name on it or address. They have to deliver some kinds of mail, like the election cards and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't want addressed ad mail, you can fill out a form at Canada Post to say, don't sell my address to these people. And then you can go to the Canadian Marketing Association website, and there's another list you can opt out of. But that only lasts 6 years. Mm-hmm. You can also mail back stuff and just say you want to get off their list, but you have to put a stamp on it.
I think the mail's still going to be around in 6 years.
I don't know if it's going to be around in 6 days.
Is there any truth to those things where it's like, you get those like cards in like magazines and it's like you can fill out to like sign it up and it's like postage already paid for, but you can like tape it to a brick and then they get charged for shipping a brick because it's like by weight?
I don't know.
Is that real?
Should we do that to Chickadee Magazine?
No. Shouldn't we like Chickadee Magazine?
We like Chickadee and Owl. I have another correction, sort of. We talked about The Wiz.
Yep.
Being in the Four Seasons, and he was in the next episode that we watched, and we saw his butt.
Yep.
And that's all I have. Next week we have The Slicer.
Kramer buys a meat slicer. And they use it in various and hilarious ways.
Oh. I can't wait. Goodbye.
Good night. Believe it or not, this is our podcast. Please subscribe at the end. If you subscribed, we would be happy. Please subscribe to us. Believe it or not, it's our podcast.
Is that a Seinfeld reference?